Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Agoda, right? I'm sure you all know Agoda. It's a household name. I'm sure you use it to book your travel, right? But Andrew, today we're talking about the business of travel. So it would be great to hear from the other side of Agoda. What should the industry know about what you do?
Yeah, so first of all, Caroline, thanks for having me, and thanks for Skift for putting this on. It's great to see so many familiar faces out there, so it's like a bit of a reunion every time we have these sessions, so very glad that Skift is back in Asia. So for Agoda, what would I say? So I think everybody knows, like show of hands, who doesn't know Agoda in this room? Nobody. Okay, so what I'd say is like, from our perspective, what we'd like you to know is that, we're like one of the key travel marketplaces in Asia. Okay, so we connect customers with accommodations, with flights now, with activities, and we really help people like experience the region. We do everything globally, but with a big focus on Asia consumers and Asia destinations. And we're not tourists here, by the way. Like, we've been here for 20 years now. Actually, this is our 20th birthday celebration year, so very exciting. And what's kept us here and what's kept us growing, I think, two key things. Number one is that we do really deep localization to each of these markets in Asia. They're all very different. I'm sure we can talk about that more. And also, I think we're very relentless on our technology. We experiment fast, and we learn a lot.
Great. So not a teenager anymore, huh?
Not a teenager, no.
Yeah. So we've been hearing so much about the popularity here in Southeast Asia. I think wherever you go in the world, coming to Southeast Asia seems to be on that top 10 list of places that you must go. It was interesting to hear Dave from Airbnb this morning talking about how, I'm going to say it again, White Lotus. But when White Lotus aired, there was just a pop in, all the social platforms and all of that. Agoda sits on a ton of data, right? You have hundreds of thousands of people coming through your platform all the time. So you have like a real live look at what's happening, what the trends are. So when it comes to consumer behavior, what should hotels be paying attention to now?
So, first of all, I'd say I really loved that show.
It was awesome, right?
It was great, yeah. And what I liked about it is that, at least for some populations in some places, it flipped the script on what Thailand is all about, right? So a lot of people I come to Thailand, usually like from a long-haul destination, I sit in the resort, have a few Mai Tais, go to the beach, and then go home, right? I barely actually see what's out there in the rest of the country. And now what we see with White Lotus is this like shift toward, okay, I have my luxury villa or my luxury resort or hotel that I'm at, but then what's outside, and what's an authentic local experience that I can have, and it doesn't have to be luxury, right? I mean, you look at it a little bit in the show. It's like tuk-tuk rides to a market, right? That kind of stuff is what people remember, and you'd almost say like the experience is a new souvenir from their travel. So what could hotels do about this? I think actually a few people have commented, including some of the earlier presenters, that you look around your local area, find those authentic experiences, and actually do it both ways, right? First of all, you let people know about what they can experience out there outside of the resort, outside of the hotel. And you also bring that local produce and that local experience inside the hotel as well, through the food, through produce, through toiletries, and we see quite a lot of that both in the search, but also in the content that's actually ending up on Agoda's website.
Right. Cool. That's very cool. So, so there is, because of the spotlight on the region, right, there's so much of the momentum here. What would you say to hotels? Like, how do you really tap into this flywheel that's happening right now and convert that into business?
So that's a good question. I would say that in our data and what we see is that our customers are mostly not crossing oceans to get here. They're crossing borders within Asia. So when we see in our search demand, where is the international search demand coming from for all these destinations across Asia? It's from Asia, right? So 70% of our search demand for international is coming cross-border, intra-Asia. And there's a lot of theories as to why that is. I'm sure there's a lot of ideas there. I think what we see is there's more repeats. So more people are actually taking more breaks each year, but maybe a bit of a shorter duration. And so what they're doing is they're saying, I want to spend more time in the destination, not getting to the destination. And when they're there, they want to experience all different parts of Asia. And I think one thing I've really seen, let's say post-COVID, is that customers in Asia are like, hey, actually there's so much to experience here. There's so many amazing cultures, features, and things that even if I'm in Thailand, even just like going to Vietnam, it's completely different, right? So I think that's been a big trend. And I think to capitalize on that, I would say you need to understand who your customer base is you're trying to attract, and then figure out how to localize toward them. So, for example, let's say I want to attract a Korean customer. That's going to be very different to trying to attract like an Indian customer, which are two very big segments for like this country for sure. So one thing that we see in our research is when Koreans travel, they typically are traveling independently, but they're also obsessed with food, right? So they come to these places all across Asia, and they're not looking for the next cool Michelin star restaurant. They're looking for the dish they saw on social media that you queue up 2 hours for, take a picture with it, and then say, I've had that dish in that street stall or that restaurant. Many of you probably in this room know about like the crab omelette from J-Fi, right? It's all those types of experiences that Korean consumers are looking for when they come to this destination. And I think, to capitalize on it, then just tell people about that. Tell people what is around your hotel, what is around your resort, and you'll get more of your fair share of the Korean market. And then you switch to India, and now we see that there's a lot of Indians either travel with family or they plan to travel with family, right? They have intent to travel with family. We see that in searches for adults, children, multiple room bookings is very popular. So what do you do there? You highlight the size of the room, the number of beds, the family-friendly facilities in the room. And again, that's going to convert people from one brand to another if they see that this is much easier when I come to this property or this resort with my family. It's super easy, and I know how to book it. And then I'd just maybe say one more broad trend, and this is something that's not obvious, is payments in Asia is still incredibly fragmented. There's efforts being made to connect the dots between different markets, but you just imagine that in Indonesia there's still sub 10% credit card penetration. So you're not dealing with people that are coming here with Visa, MasterCard, and it's a super easy experience. They're coming with a wallet. They're coming maybe with cash, which is inconvenient. So I think again, is this going to move the dial in terms of shifting customers because of your payment access and payment methods? Probably not. But it might just slightly steer people toward one brand or another, and it might make them to come back because they see that actually, this hotel really cares about me because they support my chosen payment method from my country.
That's so interesting. This morning, Sean O'Neill, was our hospitality editor, showed a chart, and it was quotes from different travelers from different parts of Asia. Talking about what luxury is, and just like you said, to one customer it could be completely different to another. So on that topic of luxury, it used to be where luxury was about, the 1,000 thread count sheets and the beautiful flowers when you walk into a lobby and so on. But that's all table stakes now. I think the ultimate luxury now is really that connection to the local culture. So, from your point of view, how are travelers thinking about luxury specifically?
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a few ways of talking about it. Quiet luxury or slow travel and things like that. So, yeah, we see it, right? We see it in what people are searching for and what they're looking for. So one thing I'd say is that the thread count still matters. So I don't want to go back to bad betting, right? So I think now, as you say, it's table stakes. People want a base camp. They want to have a luxury experience to go back to because, let's face it, a lot of these cities, especially hectic, busy, crowded cities, right? So you need this sanctuary to come back to. But as you say, yes, they then want to explore the local area and they want to do something authentic. They want to actually experience the markets, the smells, the food, even like the motorbike, right, that Rafat was mentioning, right? That's something you remember, right, when you go back from a destination and you talk about it. So I think people want the best of both worlds. They want this like understated, really super luxe experience in the property, and then the fun, exciting, noisy, busy, crazy time outside.
He wasn't the only one on a motorbike. I actually did. I just spent the last 2 weeks in Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand, and it was phenomenal. But I did do a Vespa tour in the countryside. Wow. Yeah. Wow. And my kids are
Brave.
like, "Mom, you told us never to go on a bike," and here, I wore a helmet. Anyway, which I heard was not cool, but I don't care. I'm here. Anyway, speaking of that, just touring around the last couple of weeks, I really did get a chance to experience the richness of the culture here. Whether it's the food, the wellness. It's just like multi-sensory. It's delicious. It's fantastic. Do you have any examples or of like hotels or segments or destinations that are doing it really well, where local culture is at the forefront and it's obvious on the global stage?
Yeah, we do. Like, without calling out one in particular, I'll say what makes it a very successful partnership and what really brings people to a region where it's like not just cannibalizing between different channels, but it's truly incremental business into the market. And that's when it's end-to-end, okay? So you can go and spend lots and lots of money on marketing, right, and have little impact. But if you actually look at everything from, are there enough flights coming into the market? Are the routes actually fit for purpose now? It was mentioned before, but this like change in visa regulation means that people are actually saying it's much easier to visit one country over another because of ease of access, ease of entry into the country, and then of course like ease of getting around, right? So I think the best destinations that we've been working with, and shameless plug here, we do a lot of consulting with DMOs. So any DMOs in the room, you can definitely reach us out after. But for the ones that work really well, they actually take it end to end, and then once they're ready with okay, we've got a very good story to tell and we've got a beautiful product here, then they go across every channel possible and like experiment, test, don't rely on we've always done it this way, but actually, really measure the return on advertising spend across all these different channels and making sure that then they can, put more money into the ones that work, shift from the ones that aren't working or scratch our head as to why, and like repeat. And I think there's plenty of examples of that working really well. And, I just say that that's really when the destination shines.
Excellent. Well, sadly we've run out of time, but it was a pleasure to have this chat. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.